Hello and welcome to the Fancy Comma YouTube. Today I am here to do an update of my finances. So when I started out putting videos out about our Fancy Comma's finances as a small business, and I can link to that video where we talked about our debts and what we were doing. I had $77,000 in debt. We've been able to pay off about $30,000 of our debt. So I um, I just paid off one of our business loans. So we had two business loans that each had a weekly payment, and those are obviously really hard for a small business that barely has any cash flow to consistently make those payments every week, but I prioritize them. I read this really good piece of advice the other day. I don't have any money. I don't know what I can do. What am I supposed to do in my free time? And someone said, when you have free time, just you monetize your free time. So ever since I heard that, I've been trying to do everything I can to be more proactive about my debt. I am a tutor and I'm also a substitute teacher. I'm trying to think creatively about steady cash flow that I can have independent of my freelance work that I can use. This looks bad, hold on. So that's one part of it. And then the other part is budgeting. I've been able to budget more effectively. I've been able to budget a lot more effectively now that I figured out the psychology piece of budgeting, because sometimes you feel like you really need something. And the reason isn't because you really need something, it's because you want to feel like your life is different. So I learned to identify that feeling because I'm a huge shopaholic, and that's one thing that I learned to curb my shopaholicism. Because honestly, right now, the way the economy is, there's not like a lot worth buying out there. So I haven't. And then the other piece was learning to cook at home. So I have an air fryer. I bought it for like $50. I make everything in there. You can actually get like relatively restaurant or fast food-esque meals out of your air fryer. The other thing is learning how to budget and making a plan for your money, where your money's going. As a small business owner, you have to have really strong budgeting skills. So the way interest rates are right now is really tough for small businesses because they're so high. And if you're a small business and you don't really have an extra $50 to spend on interest every month, because that $50, hard-earned $50, it usually goes to like expenses that you have as a small business. And the other thing was I single-mindedly paid those down because the minimum payments, the monthly payments, in two cases, weekly payments were getting like very prohibitive. So suffice it to say, we have about $1,400 of loan left, and then I have my own debts, which I'm going to continue to pay off. But the nice thing about paying off your debts as a freelancer is that whenever you get paid, it doesn't go to your debt; it just goes straight to you. Like I had to pay my tax burden this past March, and it was about $3,000 for federal and state taxes, and I actually was able to pay it directly. Like I just paid. Was working on a project. All of my money for that project, when I was working on it, went directly to my taxes. Is it glamorous? No, it's not glamorous. Does it require a lot of patience? Yes, it requires a lot of patience. But I feel better that I paid my debts down, because as a small business owner, you don't want to have debt because for so many reasons. The first reason is your income is so unstable, and it's really hard to find, especially now that marketing has been in a recession / in this ChatGPT world for the past year or so, amidst the economic uncertainty and I would say especially with inflation and everything, marketing spending is definitely one of the first places that companies will cut, because people see marketing as an extra. They don't see it as core to their services and their business. And there's also a lot of like free or low cost ways to do marketing. I've been talking to people about this, and I was kind of in denial that marketing was in a recession for a while, but now I'm like, no, marketing's definitely in a recession, especially with ChatGPT. Like, I've been trying it out. It actually is powerful in ways that are very useful. So I really wonder where marketing is going from here, because if you can, instead of hiring someone to write your tweets, which I still prefer to hire someone to write tweets and blogs and everything, and we will continue to do that at Fancy Comma. We don't use ChatGPT, except for my client asked me to use ChatGPT the other day. So I didn't use ChatGPT. I used like perplexity.ai, and the other one is blackbox.ai. I really am interested to see what the future of marketing is now that we are in this like ChatGPT world and this world of generative AI, which I think for me, I think I've noticed the best part of generative AI is its ability to fill in skills for people that are not, like, for example, I can draw all right, but I'm not like a good artist. But I can like, or like, I'm not a songwriter, but I've used generative AI to write songs. To bring this back to why we should think about the marketing recession and ChatGPT in our budgeting is that I think as freelancers right now, for the past however long it's been, even if people say they're finding work, I think it's really important to be really careful with where your money's going, very strategic. Every extra dollar you have, try to invest it back into your business in a way that will bring you a return on interest, whether that is um, writing a book or something. I just wrote a book called Science X Marketing. I'm hoping that will bring me a tiny bit of revenue, and then obviously finding places to have different income streams. That's always really important. I do affiliate marketing. We have affiliate links on Fancy Comma's website, and honestly, that brings us like $10 or $20 every few months, which is not terrible, but it's not a lot, but it's great because those months where you're barely squeaking by, then you get like an extra $10 or $20 in your bank account. That makes a difference. The businesses that are able to, small businesses, growing businesses, I would say that Fancy Comma is established, but it's not quite sustainable. I'm working two other jobs in addition to running Fancy Comma. So, and I think that there is a huge feeling of like scarcity in the freelance market, and I don't know why freelancers aren't talking about it more, about the economic situation that they're in. Maybe they aren't able, someone else picks up the slack for when they can't pay their bills, but for me, I'm the only one that pays my bills and Fancy Comma's bills, and they have to get paid. The economic downturn has forced me, and the pandemic and everything has forced me to get way more smart about my money. I think it's really important to do that. I don't see a lot of freelancers talking about their money except to say that they make six figures, and that's exciting. I think that's really cool for freelancers that are making six figures. I don't think we should endeavor to be six-figure freelancers. I think that as freelancers, we should live our lives in accordance with our values. And it's nice to have a lot of money, but it's also nice to be smart about your money and make less money and not have that, and just live humbly. I've read that six-figure people are struggling financially right now. So I really think that anyone working as a freelancer, provided that they are making enough money to support themselves as a freelancer, you don't have to be a six-figure freelancer to be successful. You can work on things that are very meaningful to you. You can work on things with a huge impact. I do political phone banking and campaigning, and that is free. I mean, as in, I don't get paid for that work, but I find it very meaningful and fulfilling. I've been able to be very strategic. So, like, if I know I'm getting paid and I know that money is going somewhere, then I will find some stuff to do in the week that I'm getting paid so that I don't think about spending it. Now that I am a sub, obviously I just go and substitute teach, or I'll do like tutoring, and that'll take up all my time. I view this as like temporary, and I'm doing it because I really want to see a Fancy Comma grow and scale, because we've helped so many people with our blogs and stuff. So, and once I get to a level where Fancy Comma is truly sustainable, meaning Fancy Comma's income is greater than its expenses, I will do a video about it because I think it's really important for us to think about the finances of our small business because at our core, freelancers, we are a small business. We're not, you can do your passion projects and make money. You don't have, and they can be very valuable. Just because you enjoy doing them doesn't mean you shouldn't get paid for them. And I think that is something I really want to reiterate. Still working hard. Like yesterday, I subbed all day and then I got home and I did some tutoring. So it's kind of like this is called bootstrapping, and I think I talked about it in a previous video. I'll have to find that and link that here. Bootstrapping is where you pay for a business idea you have with money you get from somewhere else from your personal expenses. Bootstrapping is working really well for me. I saw this guy's story online. He became a trial lawyer, but he actually he bartended, he coached like two sports, and he also worked on his family's like lawn mowing business to pay his student loans because he graduated with like $200,000 in student loan debt, and then he got a job that was $40,000 a year as a new lawyer. So he literally worked like several different jobs to pay the bills. I don't really like it. It comes down to like your life goals. Like I would really like to see Fancy Comma grow into a business where people come to Fancy Comma for help with science communication, science policy, all of the things that involve science, but also involve like communication in some way or policy. So, and I think we're getting close to our goal, and I'm really excited about it. If you're a freelancer and you're also feeling in the marketing, especially, and you're feeling the journalism, you're feeling the crunch of the economic times, um, be creative. Be creative and find a second income stream. There's no shame in finding a job that actually pays your bills while allowing you to do something you love until the economy gets better or you can develop some new skills. I don't actually know how many people are in this situation, but it's been quite bad for Fancy Comma probably for the past like 2 or 3 years. So I wonder if others have been kind of like struggling in secret, or I just feel like freelancers are operating in a place of scarcity right now. But anyway, thanks for watching. I wonder if you agree. I'd love to hear your comments on what you feel the freelance marketing market is like. I think we can't really know until we look at the data, and it's hard to say what the data is on the marketing industry. Like, do you think anyone's actually studying the marketing industry and looking at who's spending what? I feel like generative AI is like being completely ignored by like the media because it's so complex and people haven't been reflecting on the ways that it's like impacting everything. So I feel like it's definitely a thing that's happening, but like people just aren't, I think they just don't grasp it. Maybe they're in denial, but I'm really curious to see what happens with marketing. Like, will I be able to work at the same level as I did pre-pandemic? Probably not, because a lot of that work where you kind of just Google stuff and like write about it, generative AI can do a good job, even if they hallucinate sometimes. But anyway, that's the end of my ramble for today. Stay positive, be optimistic, be strategic. If you have a goal, figure out a way you can get to your goal, taking small steps every day. It doesn't have to be like even lofty goals can be achieved if you break them down into small steps. That's what I've learned with our finance journey. So yeah, and we hope to be here to continue to be a resource for all people interested in the intersections of science, marketing, policy, communications. It's an exciting space, and we're excited to have you on the ride with us. So thanks for watching.